Okay, I wanted to show you how to submit accepted offer paperwork for your listing on SkySlope. So you have your listing, it's going, let's say conditional, or maybe it's even gone firm. The first step is to access your listing, which you can do through SkySlope. So you're going to click on Apps in SkySlope. That's going to bring you into the agent.skyslope.com page. Now, the assumption here is that you have already entered the listing into SkySlope. Okay, so we're going to go into that active listing, which is already in SkySlope, and it takes us directly to the checklist page. On the checklist page, we're going to click this blue accepted offer button. Okay, so it says convert this to an accepted contract, and you're going to click on create transaction. So this is part of every single listing that has an accepted offer, whether it's conditional or firm. If it's a conditional offer, you're still expected to come in here and submit the conditional offer paperwork. You're going to have to enter some information like what the agreed to sale price was. So let's say my listing price was $999, but my sale price was $1,200,000. Okay, so that's my selling price. The acceptance date, I'm going to set it as today. And then the closing date, which was agreed to by all parties in the agreement, I'm going to set as September 30th. Now, this listing was a for sale listing. So I'm going to come in here under checklist type and make sure that when I'm converting this into a transaction, the checklist type is selected as offer sale, because essentially what we're doing is collecting the offer paperwork for your listing. So your listing documentation will be preserved. We're taking the steps of submitting the accepted offer. So since it's for sale, I'm going to select offer sale. If it was for lease, you would change this to offer lease. Click on next. It is going to ask for us to enter information about agent representing other party. In this section, which is called contacts, the only sections that you're required to enter information for are ones where there is a red star. So agent first name, I'm going to use test name. You're going to have the agent co-op. So this is the co-op agent's name. You're going to have that in your accepted agreement of purchase and sale. So you can copy and paste that information from there. Once it's done, we're going to click on save. And finally, we're going to click on submit. This is going to bring us to the commission page. If anything was different between what the listing agreement and the final sale agreement have for the commission of the sale, you can enter that here. What we're more concerned about is the deposit amount. So you have to accurately enter what the expected deposit amount for the property will be. I'm going to say $55,000 as an example. And this question is optional. So if the brokerage will be holding the trust money, you do select yes. If there is due date information you can submit, you can enter that here. But the only required field is deposit amount. I'm going to click on submit, which is going to bring me to the checklist page at this point. So you're going to notice that there are multiple sections now. There are sales documentation sections and listing documentation sections. So your listing documentation section should already have information from when you submitted paperwork about your listing. So as soon as your listing goes live on MLS, you are also required to submit the listing documentation on SkySlope. But the sale documentation, you're going to notice there are some items here that may not be relevant to your transaction. So there may not be a buyer representation agreement if you're not representing the buyer. Also, a confirmation of co-op and representation. Yes, that's going to be there. So you're going to click and drag these documents into these sections. So confirmation of co-op, agreement of purchase and sale. If you have the deposit receipt, you can attach that here as well. If there are sections that show required but are not relevant to the type of transaction that you're doing, right? So if you're only representing the seller and not the buyer, ignore them. You can actually leave a comment here and just say NA or not relevant and click on save. And that way the admin will be aware that it's not relevant to your transaction.